It is Monday, February 1st, 2016, and welcome to the Multifarious Man Podcast, episode 19, Artist Interview Series number 3. As always, I am your host, Jay Vincent, and you can follow me on Twitter at Multifarious Man or follow the podcast blog at www.multifariousman.com. On today's episode, I have the pleasure of bringing you an interview with Dalton Stanley of the Jacksonville band, Blind Mason. We cover a wide range of topics, including how the band was formed, musical influences, and future projects. Listen to the interview and also check out the show notes for this episode for ways to follow the Blind Mason band via social media. For now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Numerous and varied, greatly diverse and manifold. All the things I want to say that never been told. Dina Sinatra to Drake and Pharrell. When I'm listening to this week, you can never tell. Bogey and Bacall, even Meryl Streep. The devil wears Prada, even the big sleep. It doesn't matter where you stand, I'm the multifarious man. All right, welcome back to the show. Again, this is episode number 19 of the Multifarious Man podcast. And again, this is Artist Interview Series number 3. On today's episode, we are going to have our interview with Dalton Stanley of the Blind Mason band. But first up, what I'm reading, watching, and listening to. What I'm reading this week is a book called The Bands of Mourning. Now, this is another novel that takes place in the Mistborn universe by Brandon Sanderson, and this is actually number 3 of the Wax and Wayne adventures. Previously, I read Shadows of Self within the past few weeks. So this is book number 3. This is another adventure, and pretty much like I like in novels that are ongoing series, this one is, of course, a road trip. So you take all your main characters, put them on a train, send them to another city, brand new adventure. Nothing better than a road trip. Always spices things up. Plus you can bring back characters from previous novels or ongoing conflicts. But I just have a soft spot for road trips, whether it's in movies or in books. Now, what am I watching? Again, as I said probably in previous episodes and at the end of the year and at the beginning of the year, the Sci-Fi Channel is back in terms of original content that lives up to the name sci-fi. So the latest series that they recently premiered is a series called The Magicians. Now, this is based on a series of novels by Lev Grossman of the same name. And I guess the best way to explain it is kind of similar to the Harry Potter novels where, you find out that magic really exists and there's a school for magic. But the main difference is, well, in the series of novels, they start in high school. Well, for the series, they basically made everyone older. So instead of the events taking place at a high school or being high school age, these are actually people that are in their 20s. So it's at a college. And the mythology of the world is the school is hidden. Regular people don't know about magic. If they find that you have some skill as a magician, they find a way to bring you into the school to test you. And if you pass the test, then you get to go to the school. If you don't, they erase your memory. So the series is focusing on 2 best friends that both get invited to try out for the school. And, no spoilers here, but one of them makes it, one of them doesn't. So it starts with the conflicts of what happens afterwards. And of course, there's a big bad that, pretty much shows up early in the first episode. And that's going to be part of the conflict going forward. But so far, so good. It's enjoyable, good characters, good conflicts. And I think it's going to have some staying power. I haven't heard yet if it's been renewed for a second season, but definitely 13 episode first season on Sci-Fi Channel. So check your local listings. Now, finally, what am I listening to? Well, on my first show of the year, I talked about the things I was looking forward to enjoying in 2016. One of them was a new album from an artist that I've been following for years, and of course, it is Rihanna. And surprise, surprise, last week she released her new album, Anti. I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but either way, the album was dropped last week on Tidal, which is the service she owns, or she's an owner of, where it's Jay-Z's streaming service. So you can download it through Tidal. You can, purchase it outright. You can get MP3 or the higher resolution, or you can sign up for Tidal and stream it that way. But I've listened to it through a few times so far, and I'm liking it. My wife even went on to say that she likes it better than Rihanna's last 3 albums, but that's her opinion. I'm not of the same opinion. I just really like it. I'm a little disappointed that some of the songs that she released in the past year, including 4 or 5 Seconds with Paul McCartney and Kanye West, didn't make the cut, but not so disappointed because I already have those songs. So it's not a bad thing that it didn't make the cut for this album. And there's 16 songs on the extended edition. Another song that didn't make the cut is, B, Better Have My Money, which I really enjoyed it as a single, but it doesn't take away from this album that a song like that is not on there. So there's some really good ballads, some up-tempo songs. Rihanna isn't necessarily pushing boundaries with any of the songs on this album, but it's what you come to expect from Rihanna. Some songs, very soulful singing, you can just feel the emotion and kind of how she sings. So I'm enjoying it so far, and it's gonna be probably one of the couple of albums that I'm gonna be listening to nonstop for the next couple of months or so. Probably a couple of the singles will make my top of playlists, my 5-star songs. So that's it, what I'm reading, watching, and listening to this week. And like I said, stay tuned when we come back, and we'll get you with the interview with Dalton Stanley of the Blind Mason Band. So sit back and relax. All right, hello everyone. This is Jay Vincent on the Multifarious Man podcast, and I would like to welcome to the show Dalton Stanley of the band Blind Mason.
Yeah, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for agreeing to come to be on the show.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, probably maybe sometime in December, I actually got to see your group play, Blind Mason, here in Jacksonville. So I got to hear you live. And I actually mentioned it on the show, probably about a month ago. Because, part of what I do on the Multifarious Man podcast, besides just kind of talking about the things I like, music, books, things on that line, I also want to, start to promote and, have on local bands, local musicians, authors. So I think it was a kind of like a good chance for me to get out and kind of get back into that scene of listening to live music.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you got to come through and everything. That was a good gig for us that night too. It was in our area where we all grew up, Fruit Cove, and had a lot of family members and friends out, and good response. So it's always good to get a good response from the home crowd. That gig means more than playing in front of 5,000 people.
All right, so why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and the band, and who makes up the band, and kind of how you got started.
Oh yeah, definitely. So my background, I come from a very musical family. My mother sang in choir in church, and my dad played guitar and played music in bands in high school and stuff. And I grew up in church, and really at a young age I really took a liking to music and was always banging on the back of the pews and stuff. And I'm from Alabama originally, and we moved down to Jacksonville, Florida when I was in the fourth grade, and I got a drum set for, I think it was my 10th birthday, I want to say, and started playing. I took lessons for about a year and picked it up pretty quick. And then I remember I had gotten like a bad grade on a test or something like that, and my mom said no more lessons, and I was pretty stunned about that. And then 2 weeks later, I remember my dad took me to a guitar shop, and I think without my mother's permission, he got me a guitar and a little amp and stuff, and I've been playing for 11 years nonstop now. And I love guitar. I love what I do. And, I interned down at a studio downtown called the W Studio 121 with a guy named Will Neal, who played and toured with Fantasia Barrino, who won American Idol a while back. So it's great to be under his wing and learning a lot, and just really, really fine tuning. Being a session player and producing and stuff, and I love that. And it's definitely a good deal. And then I'd played a lot, just in my room and stuff. And then when I got into college, I moved back up to Alabama, and I was going there to play football and at Jacksonville State University, and it just wasn't happening. I just was not big enough. And but my roommates, I used to come back and I would play guitar, and they were like, "Dude, you need to move back to Florida and start pursuing this because football just ain't happening." So so I packed up and moved back to Florida and just started playing solo acoustic gigs and writing in my room, and just kind of grew from there. And then I started listening to the Dave Matthews Band, and that's really what did it for me. I was like, I got to get a band together, and so I called up a buddy of mine I went to high school with. His name's Isaiah Johnson, and he's a drummer. And I hit him up. I was like, "Hey man, I'm trying to start a band. Will you be down?" And he was the best one I knew, and the only one I knew who played drums. So I didn't really have much choice. And we did our first gig together actually as our 2-year anniversary will be on Valentine's Day. That was our very first gig we played, and it was just me and him. It was kind of like the White Stripes, it was no bass, nothing. It was just guitar, singing, and drums. And then, I was like, we need to get a saxophone player just because I wanted to cover a lot of Dave Matthews stuff. And so I called a friend of mine and was like, "Hey man, do you know any saxophone players?" And he's like, "I know one guy." And I was like, "All right, well, I guess that's our guy." So, and we met up with Drew Palmer, and he come to find out, I didn't even know this. He went to high school with us and graduated the year I did. And Isaiah was a year ahead of me and Drew, but Drew had moved from Boston, his junior year, so he was kind of under the radar. But he played in band, and Isaiah played in band as well. I wasn't a band guy, but we all got together and we started making music, and it really just all fit really well together. And we ran as a 3-piece for a long time, playing these gigs for free. And then a buddy of mine got us hooked up playing a fraternity party at the University of Florida, and literally just played for gas money and beer, and we killed it, and we got like 6 gigs off that one gig. And I really just want to give a shout out to the fraternity, Delta Tau Delta, and the Surf Club at UF, because they really helped start us and getting fans and stuff. And we're so thankful for that. But we really work our tails off at it, and we want to be famous and have the whole shebang. And it's a real great thing. And
it's
that's pretty much the story.
That's actually funny. When I heard you guys play, that was Dave Matthews Band was actually the first thing that came to mind. I mean, I guess when you have that setup, when you have guitar, drums, and you have somebody playing the horns, that really was the first thing. Even before you even started, or even I heard you play a couple of Dave Matthews covers, that was the first thing that went to mind. So to hear that's kind of what got you into wanting to play music, and that was your influence. I mean, it's spot on. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Dave fan. I mean, I saw him last July in where was it? Tampa. I went down to Tampa. I went by myself. I bought a pit pass, and I stayed with a buddy of mine who goes to USF down there. And went, and I was right on the gate. I was right up front, and it was the best show I've ever seen. It really inspired me. And guitar wise, I mean, John Mayer for me, that's what I pursue, to be that kind of musician career wise and stuff. But I'd say Mayer and Dave Matthews Band are the two biggest influences on our band. And Drew and Isaiah come from a very jazz background, and I didn't grow up with jazz. I come from more of a country based background, and really into classic rock and really heavy into the blues. I love Albert King, B.B. King, Buddy Guy,
Okay.
Muddy Waters, all those old school cats. And I listen to everything. We try and cover a lot of stuff, but we mainly try and push our original material because at the end of the day, we want to make it big, and that's having your own material. That's the way to go.
Well, it's funny you mentioned John Mayer. I mean, of course, everybody wants to say they play a little guitar. I mean, myself, I've been playing probably about 6 years. I mean, started from scratch, taking lessons. I walked into a guitar shop. In fact, it was Guitars United on San Jose. So locally,
man, I know those guys well, man.
I walked in one day and Joel was there, and I said, I want to play guitar, and I play left-handed. So I said,
Hendrix style.
So I said, what do you suggest? He said, I suggest getting like a beat around guitar to see if you even be interested in it before you invest money in it. He said, find yourself a little beat around guitar, which I did. I went around town, found a used left-handed Yamaha, and didn't look back from there. So it was like within a week of taking lessons, I was like, I really do like this. And,
that's cool,
4 guitars in, I'm still playing. I mean, I'm not where I want to be, but that's when I started discovering. I mean, John Mayer, when he first came out, I was like, okay, this is a pop singer. I mean, that first album or the first singles that were released, that's kind of, how it was promoted. But then when I started to hear his other things, I was like, this guy is not a pop guitarist.
Dude,
he's a straight up rock blues guitarist. And I've seen him live a few times, and have all his music. And you're right. I mean, his style, his skill. You look at the stuff he covered, stuff he did with the John Mayer Trio.
Oh man, favorite group right there, hands down.
And and definitely you can see it. I mean, all the influences and how he plays. I mean, and the stuff he's doing today with the Dead.
Oh yeah, man, that's great. I love it. And it's cool, man, because I taught myself how to play because my parents didn't really have enough money to get me lessons, so I kind of had to go about it my way. But I was in 9th grade when I figured out John Mayer, and I used to hate John Mayer. I was like, this is the guy who sings "Your Body's a Wonderland." Like, that's not, But then, like, man, I started seeing his stuff on YouTube and like watching videos, and I'm like, dude, this cat can play. And I have a few people come up to me and like, man, you sound just like John Mayer on guitar, and I'm always like, no way. I don't think I'll ever be in that caliber, but it's always a great compliment because I am heavily influenced by him, and I do try to play like him. Keyword try, but it's he really is just a genius in his own, and it's always always looking for when he's going to be on tour and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, for somebody like that, you look and see, well, who mentions him, and when you hear people like Eric Clapton mention him or bring him out on the Crossroads tour, that's when you know it's like, all right, these guys know something.
That's a dream of mine. I want to play at the Crossroads Guitar Festival more than anything. I mean, that's I've watched them all, and Clapton. I mean, he's the king, and watching those DVDs and those concerts, it's so cool because you get opened up to a lot of new people, like Gary Clark Jr. That's how he got his start. Like, he broke big just from that. He was just playing bars in Austin, Texas, and then bam.
That's funny. I was actually going to ask you, what do you think of, somebody newer like Gary Clark Jr., who's just, man, he's an amazing, I guess.
He's cool, man. He's bringing a new flavor, and it's something refreshing for music, in my opinion. It's real rocky. It's raw. And we actually, it's not, it's just a possibility, but I know Gary Clark Jr. is playing at the Ponte Vedra Concert Hall in March, I want to say, and we are looking to open up for him. My manager has a few connections, and it's an up in the air thing, but it's a possibility. And if I was able to open up for Gary Clark, I mean, that would be a dream of mine. Cause I just really love what he's doing, and he's a raw guitar player, and he's just blues all the way, and that's just cool for me.
Well, I mean, I'll send some good vibes out to the universe and really hope that happens. I mean,
me too,
I agree. I mean, he stays on constant rotation. Ever since I heard Black and Blue and a few other things, and just his live album that he released last year, I'm glad he
Yeah.
did.
Oh yeah.
And then what is it? The Adventures of Sonny Boy Slim, the new one that
Yeah.
he released within the last year. That's really him taking it there. I mean, and then hearing in interviews about how he did, played a lot of the instruments. I mean, that's like I wish I could, have that skill.
Yeah.
As I'm, strumming along and, learning as I can. I mean, I had to take lessons and, learning the chords, and it's so different than a lot of things that but I like guitar because it's such a, people don't, I guess in my opinion, people don't really realize it's such a percussive instrument that it's just different. And, the sound that you get out of a guitar, and, learning about different guitars and different techniques, whether it's slide guitar, all the different things, it's good to hear someone that, I'm a little jealous when I hear, you say you're a little self-taught, but, I'm glad to hear it. I mean, it shows when you play live, you can see the enjoyment and you're not just up there, just playing guitar. It's part of, you can just see that it's part of your vibe. It's like, this is what I'm meant to do.
And that's how I feel, man. And it's cool you said. I appreciate that. And it's, man, the minute I really started playing guitar, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I'm thankful too, man, because I'm not going the traditional route. I'm still in college, and I'm not going to graduate for a little while because I'm taking my time. Taking a class here and there. But for me, my band and my music career is what I'm meant to do. I really feel like I got blessed with a talent. And, I learned guitar very quick, and I taught myself, and I don't think that's a very natural thing. So, I try and take full advantage of it. And, I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be a guitar player no matter what. And that's just the route I'm going. And thankfully, my family's been very, very supportive. My mom and dad have always encouraged me, and my grandparents. And, it's nice when you got a good backing cast, because it makes you really want to, really shoot for it. Because we are all, I know within the next couple of years, I'm going to move to Nashville 100%. And the band's talking about coming with me as well. So, why not? We're young guys, we're talented, and I really feel like we got what it takes to make it. And it's just a matter of getting right place, right time, and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of years, man. We've only been a band together for 2 years now, but we're really starting to really get good in my opinion. I don't want to just say that, though. I mean, people should come check us out and, see what we're about. And I think we would get I think people would enjoy what we do.
Well, tell me about, what's your music creation process? I mean, I know I know you don't just want to, play covers and things on that line. So what is your approach to creating a music, original music? Is it lyrics? Is it melody? I mean, how do you approach it?
I go about it a few different ways. Some of my best stuff, it'll come to me, and I'll sit down and play, and I'll write the lyrics out, and I'll be done with it in 15 minutes. Our single that we're coming out with, it's coming out March 4th on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. We're doing a video on YouTube. It's gonna be a real good thing. But that song's called "Goodbye Girl," and it's that song. Literally, I remember I was sitting in my room. This is right after I moved back from the whole football thing, and I wrote that song in 15 minutes, and I was like, this is a pretty dang good song. I was really proud of it, and I was like, this could be something. I had to clean it up a little bit here and there, but it came out really well, and I'm so proud of how it came out. We got the guy who mastered Adele's record. He mastered it for us, and Eric Charlton was the producer on it, and he's a local Jax guy, and he's played with Greg Howe and a lot of different guys, and John Richard, and it's good to be connected with people who know what they're doing, because they make you look like you know what you're doing when you really don't. So it's cool, but I don't know. Some of my best songs just come to me, and other times, we'll be in practice and I'll just be noodling, and Isaiah will say, "Yo, what was that?" And I'll be like, he'll be like, "Play it again," and we'll write a song off that, and I don't know. It just honestly just kind of pops up. That's honestly the best way. But sometimes I will sit down and I always try and write the melody first, because if I'm a guitar player, I'll write the guitar and all the music out. But I like doing melodies first because I can write more to a melody than I can to my music. You know, I can put guitar to vocals than I can vocals to guitar because I'm a guitar player first. So it's always, you know, I don't know. It's all over the place, honestly. You know,
Okay.
I love the process. You know, it's fun, and you know, a lot of times you're gonna write bad songs. And Ed Sheeran said this best: songwriting is like a faucet. You know, it's an old faucet. You know, you turn it on, and at first you're gonna get a lot of muddy water coming out of there. You know, but then eventually it's going to be clean flowing water, and it's just going to come out. And every now and then, you know, you'll get a spigot of dirty water, but you know, you just have to let it flow and good stuff will come, you know. And I really kind of keep that in mind whenever I write something. I get frustrated. I'm like, this is not good. I need to trash this. And, you know, I'll just start writing something else. And it's just all about keeping it going, keeping it flowing.
Now, do you find it easier to write ballads or high tempo or, you know, or your traditional rock song? You know, where's your forte when it comes to writing?
That's a good question. I would say I'm good at I'm good at writing. You know, I don't want to say ballads, but more down tempo. I know how to write a great up tempo song. I like our up tempo stuff more because it really kicks, and you know, I like getting technical and with breakdowns, and you know, and that's where Isaiah and Drew shine. You know, these guys are two of the most killer musicians, and you know, the way we can all play, you know, the caliber of musicians we are. And I always say I'm the worst one in my band, and that's a great problem to have. You know, you'll hear me say that a lot. And you know, but you know, I've been through a lot of different stuff, and you know, I like writing. I don't want to say somber stuff, but more or less, you know, more chilled and you know, deeper meaning, and really makes you kind of think about things. You know, it's these past couple of years have really been up and down for me, and it's you know, I understand why everything went on, but you know, at the time, you know, you're in a dark place, and it's you know, I really try to when I'm in an emotional situation, I'm like I can get a good song out of this, so I'll really kind of force myself to sit down and write about it. And you know, there's a lot of songs I've written that I haven't even shown to the band that I just have for me. You know, I have to keep to myself, and you know, but it's kind of, you know, about even, I would say. It's just kind of, you know, what my mood is, I guess.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I mean, I like I said, I'm still at the phase where it's trying to be a proficient player,
Right.
playing, you know, with the mood and the vibe. And, you know, I kind of tend to, you know, lean towards, you know, kind of the blues but you know, but that's just playing wise. But in terms of the things I enjoy, it's everything. If someone picked up my, you know, my MP3 or my iPod today, there's no telling what you'd hear. It might be, like I said, Gary Clark Jr. It might be, you know, might be BB King or Albert King or, you know, or it might be Sinatra, you know, or it might be
Yeah.
Jay-Z or, you know,
Yeah.
or like I like the Roots is probably my favorite, you know, of hip hop bands just because of their
Oh, I
production,
love the Roots,
because of
dude.
their
They're spot
production,
on.
you know, and you love, you know, every time Questlove touches something, he touches kind of everything. It's, you know, it's not just one genre, and you know, to kind of see that, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's enjoying music in all aspects of it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way I am, man. I really try to listen to everything, you know, and when we do covers, you know, we do everything from, you know, we'll do John Mayer, and we do a couple Snoop Dogg tunes. You know, like I love hip hop, I love rap. My parents had me at a young age, so I grew up listening to, you know, Biggie and, you know, Wu Tang and, you know, all those guys, and I love '90s hip hop, man. Like, and it sucks because I don't have the voice to rap, but I do produce hip hop all the time at home on my computer, and you know, I have a few friends who rap, and I love doing that, and it's really a nice outlet to get away from doing stuff for my band and for myself, to do stuff for other people. I love it, and it's a nice outlet for me, and you know, because I am passionate about all music and stuff, and you know, like you said, everything from Metallica to Sinatra to, you know, Jay-Z. It's, you know, I listen to all of it. You know, I say don't ever limit to what you listen to, because you're containing your abilities as a musician.
Yeah, in fact, and when I saw you guys play, I mean, it was a nice combination. I mean, you played everything from "Ain't No Sunshine." I mean, I think you played 6 by 9. What else did I think I hear that night? There was some Dave Matthews.
I remember we played Poison by Bell Biv DeVoe. Now that's a fan favorite
Nice.
right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a classic. Isaiah always pushed us to play that song, and I was like, no, we're not playing it. We can't do it. And then he finally had the drums like on point, and I was like, oh, man, it sounds too good. We got to do it.
Nice. No, that's excellent to hear. Now, in terms of social media, where's the best places for people to follow you or to, check out some of your music of Blind Mason?
If you're wanting to hear music, SoundCloud, we have some demos up. Like I said, we're going to be releasing our first single. This is full production, the whole 9 yards. We're doing a video here in Jax. I got a good friend of mine named Garrett, goes to UNF. He's a film student there, and just really kind of he's definitely going to go places with videography and all that stuff. He's really just I love what he does, but he's going to be doing a video for us. But SoundCloud's good. We got some demos. We actually have that gig we've been talking about. I have some of the tracks up from that up on our SoundCloud that you recorded for us, and I want to say thank you for that because I love getting to hear us live. I never get to sit back and really listen, and it was good for us to sit down and kind of critique ourselves as a band. And okay, we need to tighten up here. Let's do this here. Let's change it up. That was cool. But definitely go follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is Blind Mason Official. There is another account called Blind Mason, and that was our old account, but we got locked out of it and can't get back in, so we had to create a new one. So Blind Mason Official on Instagram, Facebook, just look up Blind Mason, same thing for Twitter. And yeah, that's we're working on our website's about to be done. I'm really excited about that. It should be done in February. So we're really making a lot of big moves this year, man. And if everybody could go follow us, that would just help us out tremendously. And and growing and just getting a bigger fan base, because that's what it's all about, really reaching out. And social media for musicians is a revolutionary thing, because now you can feel like you're friends with your favorite musician. And I think that's great, because used to you're always having to read the newspaper or watch it on TV about when they're going on tour and all this, and now you hear it directly from them, and I just think that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I think that it's something like that. I think I had posted something, I believe, on Twitter about Public Enemy, and Chuck D retweeted it, and it was, it's one of those things. So it's like, as a fan, you're like, wow,
Dude,
to know that
you
have that direct connection, where the musicians can reach out to their fans and get that instant feedback, or say there's a show that you're at, and you tag yourself at the show, and then you look later on and you see a comment from that artist. I mean, I know, as someone that plays music and enjoys music, there's something about that connectivity to the artist that really, you feel part of that greater community, and it really just makes it more enjoyable.
Well, that's what it's about. I mean, ultimately, you hear songs from your favorite artists, or watch a movie from your favorite actor, and you feel like you're connected with them, and just having social media, it's even more in depth. And, sometimes it can be a bad thing, but for the most part, it's a great thing, and it's good for, as a musician, you can get feedback from your fans. Like, oh, I'm going to put this out. What did you guys think of it? And I think that's a great thing too. And, you definitely got to pick and choose who you're looking into, because a lot of negativity does come from it. But like I said, I think the good outweighs the bad on it, so it's definitely a great thing.
Well, Dalton, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I love, anytime you want to have me, man. I definitely love to get the boys together, and hopefully we can do an acoustic set next time for you.
Oh, that'd be perfect. I'll make plans to bring the mic and recorder out to you guys and set something up, so we can definitely share that with the audience. And as you're getting close to the music coming out, or even included at the end of this episode, I would definitely love to play a snippet of a song, or or point people in the right direction. And what was the name of the single that's coming out in March?
It's called Goodbye Girl. It's going to be coming out March 4th, full production. There's going to be a video as well. So we're about to start promotion for that in February. We're kind of trying to get our timing right, and thankfully we've got a great manager, Lucas Costas. He used to be in the band Side Reel. He's no longer with them anymore. He's really just taking us to another level. He's trying to get us booked on a festival this year, which would be great. And he's really busting his butt for us. And it's like I said, if you got a good supporting cast, you can go all the way. And thankfully we've got a lot of great people behind us. And we just got all of our stuff copyrighted, and we got the certificate for that this past week. And it's just, man, this year is just going to be great. I can already feel it. And everybody's on board and has the same goal. And, I'm just so excited for what's going to be going on. But, the single is called Goodbye Girl, so definitely check that out. And, that's about it.
Well, perfect. I mean, here on the Multifarious Man podcast, and we'll definitely continue to follow you and, spread the word as, you have more music coming out, or, any gigs that you have, definitely let us know. And I'll definitely spread the word on the show. But once again, I mean, I really appreciate you coming and joining us. Again, it's Dalton Stanley from the Blind Mason Band.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Thanks again.
All right, take it easy.
So there you have it. That was my interview with Dalton Stanley of Blind Mason. Like he said in the interview, their first single is going to be released on March 4th, so look out for it. Also, again, check out the show notes for all the ways to follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and SoundCloud. Once again, that was the show this week. When we come back, we'll wrap it up, and then I will see you again next week. So hold on, we will return. All right, we're back, and we're wrapping up episode 19 of the Multifarious Man podcast. I really enjoyed the interview that I shared with you today. Like I said, I've seen the Blind Mason perform live. They've got a really good vibe, and I'm looking forward to some exciting things for them in the near future. Now, also some cleanup from last week. My sister tuned into the episode number 18, of course, when no one's watching. And, that was the episode where I talked about all the things I'm kind of like embarrassed that I enjoy, my wall of shame. She mentioned a couple of shows that I forgot about. And, of course, one was MTV's The Real World, which probably started, this whole reality TV type thing. Now, this was many, many, many years ago. And this was the first season that had Heather B., who's a radio personality and rapper, and Kevin Powell, who's gone on to be, quite a prolific writer, both for Vibe and also several novels. But The Real World was the one that started it all. You put 8 people in the house and just let the cameras roll. And, I think the tagline was, what happens when, you start being real, whatever. Go back, MTV probably has it streaming somewhere on the MTV app, but The Real World, first 2 seasons we probably watched a lot. Another one she mentioned was, of course, Dawson's Creek. Yes, I did enjoy Dawson's Creek, and I'm glad, spoiler alert, that Joey ended up with Pacey. Dawson was wrong for her, but that's just my opinion. So again, that's it, wrapping up episode 19. Thank you for tuning in, and please come back again, share the show, check it out. Again, we're on Stitcher, Spreaker, also on iTunes, and RSS feeds, well, 2 S's, RSS feeds everywhere. Check out the blog on multifariousman.com. You can sign up for the blog, and also, subscribe to the show, share with your friends. And if you want to drop me a note, you can follow me at Twitter at multifariousman. Also, you can send me an email if you have comments or suggestions for future episodes. You can send me an email at multifarious.man.podcast@gmail.com. Other than that, like I always say, why be various when you can be multifarious? Check you next week. Peace. Numerous and varied, greatly diverse and manifold. All the things I want to say that never been told. Dina Sinatra to Drake and Pharrell. When I'm listening to this week, you can never tell. Bogey and Bacall, even Meryl Streep. The devil wears Prada, even the big sleep. It doesn't matter where you stand, I'm the multifarious man.